so much, hey, this is what this guy can do with this, position specific, scheme specific right now, but just getting them tied into the culture, and certainly Coach Corella.
Layman's terms, kind of what is your defense like to do? Is it a flyer on? Is it a blitzing? Or, I mean, just kind of your philosophy?
Yeah, so I'm sure that'll come up a lot. We're trying to get away from just kind of pigeonholing us to a scheme right now. If you had to pigeonhole us last year, probably most of the first snaps we were 4-2-5, but we're certainly multiple in everything we did. At some points we looked like 3-4, we looked like 3-3 odd. We had plenty of third down, any situational packages. But for us, to answer your question, you kind of alluded to it, just effort-based defense. So just energy, juice, young men that enjoy playing for each other. When somebody makes a play, someone's celebrating around them and with one another. But everything's built on effort-based defense. And then obviously we'll talk about the things we'll prioritize the most. That'll be creating takeaways. It's all about the ball, get the ball. We'll talk about it ad nauseum. We'll find ways to incentivize that. Probably the thing we're most proud of statistically from this past season were the takeaways. We ended up being number 3 in the country, Temple, and then led the country in defensive touchdowns. So certainly a testament to kids buying and the coaches selling the vision and then being able to execute that.
You think college football has gone to it seems like scoring is at a premium right now, and
Sure.
Points are going up.
Sure.
It puts the pressure on defense to try to hold that down. Is that kind of your goal?
Sure. To answer that question a little bit, probably total points, that goal that most defensive coaches or most staffs had probably 10 years ago, that number probably is not the same with the proliferation of offenses, how fast they are, how quickly they can score. So back to the original point, the takeaways are at a premium. Possessions are at a premium. Dave and I have now worked together. Coach Patton and I have worked together, so he does a great job of complementing one another when it's time for him to go fast and for him to attack, and when that's the best for the offense. Certainly Coach Collins allows him to do that, but when there's times to be a little conservative with the clock and being able to run the football with a lead or whatever, he's done a great job of being complementary, and Coach Collins has done a great job of leading that, facilitating. But possessions are at a premium in college football today, so when you can create takeaways and get the ball back in the offense's hands, it goes both ways. If we can get the ball back in their hands, then they can score at a fast rate as well.
How does it feel to be back in Atlanta?
Feels great. Just echoing what Coach Collins says, this is home. There's no place like home, and certainly there's all the advantages that Atlanta has outside of this being home, but it's just special. It's unique. This profession can be incredibly tenuous. You can move in a moment's notice. So anytime you have the opportunity, advantage to do this, it's special. So had one other opportunity with the Falcons. I was actually even closer to home. My mom, stepdad, sister, brother-in-law, little cousins, all those guys are in Flowery Branch in Gainesville, and I was living in Flowery Branch. But this was kind of the dream, the vision in college football, and certainly being in Atlanta. I grew up in Cartersville, Georgia. My mom married high school football coach Bruce Miller, who ended up at North Forsyth, so I moved to Cumming for a little bit, and then he got the Gainesville job my senior year of high school, so ended up graduating from Gainesville High School in the metro area, and they've been there ever since. So a lot of family around. That makes a difference. Not that you guys really care, but I've got a wife, and I've got a 3-year-old little girl and a 1-year-old little boy, and Mama and I are going to have some date nights now because we got some babysitters. So those are the things that you don't think about, that you'll take advantage of, but the familiarity of the place, just echoing again what you're saying, but the familiarity of the place, and certainly in recruiting as well. So I'll give my stepfather one more shout out. Bruce Miller did a very good job leading some strong programs here in the high school area. He's got a very good reputation. Good man, and is well respected. So that helped facilitate me early on in my career to build some relationships in recruiting, and just to kind of have some access to some people based off of his reputation. So certainly the recruiting piece of being back in Atlanta and being able to this be the home base for recruiting, this be the hub, this not be a tertiary, or not be in Philadelphia and coming down to Atlanta for it to be a tertiary area, to this to be our home recruiting base. That'll be a special piece of it as well.
You worked with Coach Bowen and Coach Fine at Penn State both here before.
Yeah.
Have you reached out to either of them in terms of getting kind of lay of the land?
They beat me to it. Yeah, when all the rumors start going, and then you're not trying to get the name out there with tenuous rumors, then he did a nice job of just being very complimentary and reaching out, and excited to have us back in the area. But need to do, even some other guys that are on staff that have relationships with. It's kind of been a little bit of a whirlwind. You get here and you don't have a chance to breathe, but guys just familiarizing with the area, kind of maybe the advantages, whatever, of being here, and then certainly of the current roster as well. Just some of the things that are unique to Georgia Tech. It'd be crazy not to use those guys as resources to help, just flatten the learning curve with that. So you mentioned Coach Bo, you mentioned Liam Klein. Can't be more complimentary of what they've done. Absolutely love working for Coach Bohannon. He's killing it at Kennesaw State. It's amazing how quickly he's developed that program into an FCS national power. And he's absolutely fantastic to work for as a staff member as well.
What's it been like, I guess, kind of making the transition? You guys playing your bowl game, and then, in the last 2 weeks or whatever, you have to decamp, come down here, and
yeah.
How's that transition been?
Whirlwind, I guess. I'll keep using that word a little
Sure.
bit. Haven't had a chance to take a breath. It's strange. It's bizarre. The way that they've set up the double signing day, the early signing period, that's made the coaching changes obviously happen much earlier. Not to go on some diatribe about that, but it's not always fair to the players at that university, and maybe not always fair to the coaches that have to go through those things. Those things are tough. So that was taxing. It's taxing, not knowing what a lot of people's futures are as well because of the sensitivity of all the information and the coaching changes. So to be quite honest with you and be a little bit vulnerable, those things were tough. But now that we've had a chance to get in-house, probably that Friday 8 a.m. staff meeting, that's when all the excitement set in. There was no more anticipation. You're here. There's no more looking forward to things. You're here and you can go all in. When you're in the other situation, and this may be part of your future, but you're still trying to be fair to the kids that you're still left with, you get pulled in different directions. There's plenty of distractions. You have to push those things away. So now we can just be us. We can be around Coach Collins. We can implement his vision for what he wants for his football team, and just be here and just be all in. That's ultimately what you do. Just have confidence in him and have trust in him and have him trust us just to follow his vision.
So what have you seen so far, looking at the tape and
Sure.
kind of the personnel? Obviously they were odd but it was just for a year, and just trying to kind of adapt to what you guys are going to do.
Yeah. So we haven't completed that. That's
Sure.
very, very preliminary. And to be completely honest with you, our overwhelming majority of our focus will just be on recruiting. On the front end of it, we have an opportunity to meet early on with our players, specifically position specific, and just to get to know those guys relationally, not so much just evaluating on them and exactly what they can and can't do on the field and how they fit right now. So that will be a little bit of a delayed project. When we get off the road, literally as soon as signing day hits, we'll hole up in an office. We'll be with Coach Collins. And the biggest thing we'll do, we'll literally go through every single film. We'll have some guys that were here from the previous staff, GA, whoever it is, maybe even the players, just take us through all the language, the scheme, the structure, the language, what they did. And if there's things that carry over to our defense, we'll use the same words. We'll use the same language. 10 adult coaches can learn that faster than 60 kids can learn
Sure.
a new language. So in that process, we'll get to see more of the physical skill set. The other thing is we're just waiting to hear how they work, what type of dudes they are. Obviously, the film will tell a certain story, but Coach Corella, the new strength coach, and his staff, just what type of kids are they? How do they work? How compliant are they in the new system? How excited are they every single morning? These guys in the first month with Coach Corella, the way that they go to class, the way that they're on time for breakfast checks, they'll tell us a story faster than when we can go watch the film. So what, kind of how they are as people, how they are intangibly, how well they work with the strength staff, and then in February we'll be doing that at the same time. We'll have an opportunity to be able to do the morning workouts with them, and really get to test and push and see how they are under adverse situations, be around them a little bit. So I didn't do a good job of answering your question.
Yeah, sure,
so
yeah.
I'll kind of circle back. That'll be a post-signing day question.
Sure.
And we'll get in there. If our best personnel tells us to be a 3-3 odd structure, we'll do that primarily. If it's 4-2-5, it's 3-4, we will do that. And that will be an ongoing question. The good thing is we have multiplicity within our system. We're not pigeonholed of only being a 3-4 structure. We're not pigeonholed to only being a 4-2-5 structure. Pull up the tape. This isn't just coach speak. We were multiple in what we did structurally at Temple, and Coach Collins has been multiple at every stop. He had a different personality at Mississippi State than he did at Florida. So just kind of using those as examples. And at the end of the day, we want to accentuate our personnel. So if we're got more talent in the defensive secondary, then we will use those guys, and we'll be more 5 DB package oriented. If we're light in the front, then we may have to be a little more 3 down, 3-4, 3-3 odd structure and move a lot more and slant like Coach did in this previous season. But you got to see what we are. And then the biggest thing too that makes you not want to answer the question, we're still trying to supplement the roster.
Sure.
Be it high school, be it older kids, be it transfers, be it whatever. So don't want to just look at the film from last year and say, all right, these are the only things we have left, and while they're better at 3-4, then we need to kind of constrain ourselves to that.
Coach talked a little bit about how he's going to have to pull back a little bit from the defense to kind of work on the recruiting piece and the program building piece. Is that kind of why Nate and you are getting that Coach DC thing, and him maybe had a little bit bigger role in taking some of the role that Coach Collins maybe at Temple?
Yeah, that's Coach Collins to answer, but he's incredibly involved, and I have zero ego about that. The best defensive coordinator in the country is Jeff Collins. It just turns out that he's a dynamic head coach as well. So anytime Coach Collins wants to be in that room, I want him in there every moment. One of the great advantages of having this position under Coach Collins is there's not a day that goes by that I don't grow, that I don't learn something from him. However big, however small, whether it's related to scheme or whether it's related to how he treats or handles situations with players, I get better every single day. I'm still young, I'm still impressionable. I want that. So there's zero ego about him being in the room. It's not trying to only put my personality or only my stamp or only get my name or that kind of selfish influence that will happen in this profession. So I use him as a resource every single day. So I don't know exactly what he means by that, but just going off of how we did it at Temple, he was always in the room. He was always part of the game plan. Saturdays I called every call, and if he ever had any suggestions, that was the call that went on the field. They were, quote, suggestions. So if he ever wants to make a suggestion, I will say yes, sir, with a smile on my face, and we will execute that to the highest level that we can. But definitely want him incredibly involved. And then just back to Nate, I think just him being with Coach Collins for a year and having confidence in him, certainly there's the alumni piece of Nate, but dynamic coach, can't speak more highly of him. Trust each other. There's zero egos involved with Nate and I. There's a strong friendship there off the field, and we're both rooting for each other's success. So co-titles, whatever titles doesn't matter to us. We just want to come out here and make an impact on kids and then win at the highest level.